All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started here with our warm-up. But before that, once again, today is our total body strength training class. Make sure you got some water at home. I'll, of course, provide breaks, but if you ever need one on your own, you're more than welcome to take it. I think today, especially before the break, we should be able to get along just fine with some heavy weights only. But, of course, always at your own discretion. If you want to have some medium weights on standby in case you feel you want to drop down, I always encourage that so that you can still produce quality reps over the feel or the need to feel you need to reach a quantity of reps. I also have a resistance band down here. That's going to be something that if you want, you can put around your ankles or your knees for some hip abduction on the out, as well as some squats that we're going to have down the road. But guys, to get us started, we're going to give us those shoulder circles. We start nice and small here, and we're eventually making them bigger. And I don't want you guys to just think about your hand moving out here in the periphery. I want you to think about that shoulder capsule in here getting looser. That's the point here, is we want to make sure that glenohumeral joint is feeling comfortable, very warmed up. This shoulder joint here, again, we're going bigger as we go, guys, but this shoulder joint is our most mobile joint throughout the body, but it's also our least stable. So right now we're focusing on mobility in a safe, controlled manner so that we're not increasing our risk for injury, but we're still working on getting it nice and going. So guys, we're taking a few up here, full range of motion, and then we're rotating it back down to the center, back to the small. Once we get there, guys, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to go backwards. And when we start going backwards, this is where I like to say that we can also start focusing on opening up our chest, as well as activating those muscles in our upper back. It just allows us, sometimes it's easier to feel that visualization here. So again, as you start to get bigger, focus not only on opening up that shoulder, but stretching that chest muscle, activating those muscles in the upper back. From there, guys, again, start to take it nice and slow down towards the center, keeping those arms out wide. You're going to give me those hamstring curls as well as that chest opener. And guys, this is when we really start to focus on opening that chest and really squeezing those shoulder blades together, activating those rhomboids, getting a little help from those medial trap muscles as well. Jessica, nice to see you stopped in. If that's the case, let's make it a good one. We're going to have a great fun, and especially because it's right before the holiday break, so I'm glad you're getting a little extra time to yourself next week. Guys, let's start taking this into a squat here. While we're doing these squats, focus on pressing through the heels, activating those glutes, trying to stay off the front of the toes. That's going to get us a little quad heavy. We want those glutes activated, especially for the start of our workout. We're really focusing on getting those glutes activated, keeping those knees apart, pressing through the heels, and I'll start doing a nice calf raise at the top, getting that full lower half of our body activated within this movement. Right there, guys. Let's go ahead, spread our legs apart. Let's do some side shifts here. Main focus here is to stretch the adductors or the anterior thigh muscles within the long stretched out leg. If feeling a little fatigued early, doing those shifts over, more than welcome to come on up, stretch to one side, and repeat. But staying low if we're able is going to help us activate those glutes even more. And right there, guys, let's give me a few Spider-Man stretches here, just focusing on the hip flexor. Trying to get a couple each side, maybe 5 to seconds per stretch. And right there, guys, we're gonna come on up. Just give me a few hip openers from the inside on towards the out. And give me the same thing, opposite direction here, outside to in. And right there, guys, go ahead, grab a drink of water. We'll be back here in a little under a minute. Jessica, if you had missed it before, heavy weights should get us through most of today's class. Medium weights, of course, if you ever feel you need a drop. And then if you'd like a band for some hip abduction stuff, more than likely or more than willing to show you some of that stuff as well, but at least some heavy weights for today's class. All right, guys, as we're coming on back, we are starting on the floor today. We're going to have some single leg glute bridges. Band could be placed around our legs right now because after we do, let's say, our left glute bridge, we're going to wrap it over and do a left leg hip abduction, switch it over, do both the glute bridge and hip abduction for the right side. So having that band around our ankles or around our knees might not feel like much for the glute bridge, but it'll save us some time in between those abductions. Of course, if you're a little uncomfortable doing that single leg, maybe you start to feel your hip drop, more than welcome to do dual leg. And if we have that band, let's focus on pulling those knees apart. But guys, I'll let you get that band around if you want to. And we're starting here in 3, 2, and 1. So I'm starting on my left side here, giving us a nice single leg glute bridge. Again, weights can be placed here on the hips. But one thing we want to focus, guys, is press through the heel of that working leg. Try to get a nice straight line from that working knee to the hip to the shoulder. And see if you can't get an extra inch at the top. If you take a little bit of a pause, take that pause to see if you can't get an extra inch. Guys, you're giving me another 10 seconds. And then we're going to roll on to my right side, but basically the side that you weren't just working. Give me that in 2, 1, right away, guys. Start giving me some abductions. Again, targeting the glute here. Let's try to keep that working foot facing forward the whole time. Let's not feel like we have to rotate it out to get that extra range of motion. We want to keep it straight ahead this whole time. And then if you do have a band around, I want you holding up top. If you don't have a band, let's give me a pulse right up here on top. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Right there, guys. We're going to be back on our backs here. I'm going to switch sides for you for that hip abduction, but we're going right back into that single leg glute bridge with the opposite leg, which is now my right leg, starting here in 3, 2, and 1. And guys, one thing to note is that while you were doing that hip abduction for your left leg, your right leg was minimally, or at least partially, doing some work as well, pushing towards the ground. So you might start to feel fatigue a little bit earlier, even in these glute bridges. If so, feel free to start utilizing both legs, or just take those reps a little less frequently. But you're doing that, guys, for me for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and let's rotate on over to the side, doing the same thing here, and go ahead right there. Hip abduction. Again, keeping that foot nice and forward. Bands, of course, either around the knee or all the way out by the ankle. By the ankle will be harder, as I'm sure you noticed by now if you're doing them on the other side. And that's just because you're going to have less range of motion to work through before that band hits its full elastic potential. And now let's have everybody with the band holding, everyone without. Start giving me those pulses here at the top. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead, slip off the band there. We're going to go ahead, stand on up. We're going to keep with that single leg momentum. So if we start off like I did with my left leg for those glute bridges and abductions, we're going to have a single leg, straight legged deadlift here. Weights again optional. Guys, we're starting that in 3, 2, and 1. So as always, guys, with these RDLs, you can have a slight bend in the knee. What we want to focus on, which is going to be really important since we're probably a little fatigued, is to not let that hip reach out too much as we're coming down. And of course, be mindful of our balance, but trying to keep our entire body pointed down towards the ground, hips, torso as well. You might see a slight rotation out, especially the more fatigued that you are. But trying to maintain that parallelness with the ground. You guys are giving me another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Quick transition over to the other foot and begin. Again, we're following this up after those glute bridges and adduction to further focus on the glute as well as get that hamstring in there a little bit more. Doing some nice single joint focus before we get to some of our more multi-joint movements later on. And of course, guys, if you're ever starting to feel fatigued, or maybe you're losing your balance, maybe you're rotating out excessively, feel free to take those reps a little bit less frequently. Let's focus on quality over quantity for the next 3, 2, and 1. Right there, guys, we're going to hop into some squats, some multi-joint movements. Like I said, we were building up. If you would like to put that band back around the knees, I would recommend this time. I'll give you a couple seconds to do so. Otherwise, normal squats here to start us off. And then we're going to make those a little bit more fun, more interesting, a little bit more down the line for them. But guys, let's start those in 3, 2, and 1. So of course, guys, you can have weights with you at home. You can hold them goblet style right up here towards the chest. I know sometimes we like to place them on the shoulders or have them down here in front or off to the side. But guys, just some normal squats, really focusing on keeping those knees out, especially if we have the band, you'll feel it. But even if we don't have the band, let's avoid letting those knees come in at any point during our squat. All right, guys, in a few seconds, you're going to join me up top, and we're going to do a 5-5 count, which means we're going to go down for 5, up for 5. Let's go ahead and start that right up here up top with me right now. Down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, up 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, down 5, 4, 3. Keep those knees apart. 2, 1, up 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, down 5, 4. Keep that back nice and straight, not bending too far forward. Back up 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press the heels through the heels, squeeze the glutes. 3, 2, one more time for me. Down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back up 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everybody coming down here, just give me a pulse at the bottom now. Pulse at the bottom, especially those people with our bands around our knees. Really focus on not letting those knees come in. But we're pulsing down here, guys, really pressing through the heels. Squeeze that glute here. That's the focus. We did a lot of single joint movements to focus on the posterior area from our glutes down to our hamstrings during this time. 3, 2, and 1. Guys, right there, go ahead, grab a drink of water. We'll be back here in about a minute. As you guys are swinging on back to me, we're going to go ahead and pick up those heavy weights again. And we're going to have shoulder press, both arms, same time. Yeah, we're just going to start off with that shoulder press, guys. I'll make it a little bit more interesting towards the end. But we're going to go ahead and start here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again, at home, you guys are pressing with both hands at the same time to avoid overextending our back on that way up. Let's go ahead and stagger those feet at least a little bit so we can give our spine a nice base of support. I want you guys to focus on getting tension in this muscle right here, the shoulder muscle, rather than the tricep back here. Nice and slow. Now let's have everybody come right here so that that upper arm parallel with the ground, we're holding right here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Guys, relax there. Give me a good staggered stance now. Hinge at the hips here. Pull our shoulder blades back and just start giving me a row in 2, 1 right here, you guys. Again, I want us to focus on those shoulder blades being pulled back the whole time. After that, let's focus on activating this upper body tissue right here, that large mass of muscle tissue, guys. That's our lats. That's our main focus right here. Let's try to keep that neck nice and stable. Don't let it crunch too far forward or feel we have to go too far back. Let's let it feel natural. Keep it in line with the spine. Don't want to overstrain the neck at this time. 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm going to have you guys come back up to me. We can stand straight here. Start giving me some bicep curls right here, right now on the dot. Again, stagger stance might still be beneficial if we find ourselves utilizing momentum as we curl. Let's keep that focus on our bicep. Take the tension off our spine. Give me that stagger stance just to be safe. And right here, guys, let's hold with that forearm parallel to the ground, really focusing on getting tension in that bicep. This is the biggest tension point within this movement because the weight is finally pressing against our direct force, which is directly against gravity. 3, 2, and rest there, you guys. We're going to head on down to the mat again here. Feel free to bring that water a little closer, maybe sneak a sip in right here. But our next activity is going to be from up top. You're going to be giving me a nice chest fly. We'll begin there in 2 and 1. Guys, while we're doing this chest fly, make sure we're controlling on the way down. Right before those weights touch, that's when we really want to focus on control. That's that direct force against gravity motion. That's going to be our most difficult stick point. And it's also going to be the best opportunity for us to get a nice stretch in our chest, which is extremely important, as this is a muscle that tends to get tighter than the rest of the body due to a large sitting posture. Guys, we're going to change to a chest press here in 5, 4, 3, 2, hands up top. Give me a nice chest press. Again, right before those elbows touch. Let's begin that reascent up. Transitioning to a tricep extension, 4, 3, 2, weights up top, elbows locked in position. Tricep right there. Again, when I say elbows locked, let's not allow those elbows to come back. That's almost making it a lat pullover. That's making it easier on our triceps. We want to keep that elbow in one current position the whole time. And this is a what you could consider a triple pre-exhaust. We pre-exhausted the pec muscle before the press, which also then pre-exhausted our triceps. And now we're finishing off with these triceps for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and right there, guys, we're going to go ahead, set at least one weight down because we're going to go into a Russian twist here. So if you want to have a weight that's more than acceptable, just be cautious of the speed at which we're going. Maybe if we have a weight, go slower so that our obliques can really focus on that tension versus if you're no weight, going a little bit faster might help activate those obliques a little more. But guys, we are starting in 3, 2, 1. You can have those legs up or down, but just giving me some twist here. And again, if we have those weights, it might be easier or more effective for us to really focus on that eccentric motion as much as we do that concentric by going a little bit slower versus whipping through that and being able to use our tendons as a way to propel us back up by using a bit of a stretch reflex. Guys are giving me for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go ahead, whip it on over, guys. We got the last 2 exercises. We're having a plank, Superman or Superwoman to finish us off here. So plank here to start us off, straight line from the shoulders to the hips to the ankles. Let's begin in 3, 2, begin. Check your position at home. Might be helpful to remember that right below the shoulder should be our elbow. And again, if those hips are a little bit higher, that's okay. But guys, you just hit the 15-second mark right there. And guys, we do these a lot at the end of class because we like to focus on the rotational aspect of the torso, the flexion aspect of the torso within these planks. And then we have that Superman, Superwoman at the end to focus on the extension of our torso, all of which make up, of course, our core and help us with safety going on later. Guys, you got 15 seconds left for me. 5, 4, 3, 2, and quick breath there. But guys, we're going right into those Supermans, either with those arms outstretched or inside, starting that 2 and 1. Guys, of course, really making sure we have that chest off the ground, knees as high off the ground as we can, basically trying to make the only point of contact with the floor our belly button. It's not obviously going to be the only point, but that's the image we want in our head that activates those glutes that we were working very intently at the start of class, as well as the low back to bring up our upper body. halfway right here, you guys. Let's see if we can't raise that body just a little bit higher for these last 15 seconds. Really focus on that low back. Whether or not you experience low back pain currently or have ever, about, I think, or a large portion of Americans at some point will experience low back pain. So let's do some protective factors right there. Guys, go ahead, rest, catch your breath, grab some water. We're gonna be stretching out our hips to begin right here, back in that Spider-Man stretch. Again, feel free to have that water sipping while we're doing this, more than acceptable. Right there, let's go ahead, switching on over. Right there, guys. Let's take it on down to the ground. Spread those legs apart, right down center. And let's bring one leg out in front. Give you a nice hamstring stretch here. I have my left leg out in front. Obviously, we'll switch. Feel free to grab the toes. Otherwise, just allow that leg to relax and let your torso do the stretch, because that's effectively what's happening. And right there, switch it over. Same thing, other side. Right there, guys. Let's stay in that position, but let's bring that other foot forward or over. Give us a nice glute stretch here. We can squeeze it in. I know sometimes we like to rotate, having this arm twist over. I'll let you guys decide that. And switching on over, same thing, other side. Right there, guys. We're going to go ahead on stand up. We're going to find a wall here. Give us a nice wall stretch. If we maybe don't have a wall in close proximity, feel free to loop those hands behind our back. Pull back a little bit, nice and gently, to protect the shoulder, but that can also give us a nice chest stretch. Otherwise, we also like to recommend doing this against the wall or a door frame. Let's give us that nice chest stretch. And right there, let's wrap it over to the other side. And we'll come on back to me, guys. We're going to finish it off, of course, our four-way neck stretch. Let's start off by tucking the chin into the chest, stretch the back of our neck. And of course, let those shoulders relax. That's crucial. Maybe it helps to have our hands off to our sides as well. But we really want to focus on relaxing the tension in our shoulders. Let's go ahead, guys, right there. Raise our heads back up. Tilt our heads on back. Stretch the front of our neck. Let's return to center there. One ear, same side shoulder. Stretch the side of our neck. And let's raise it up. Do the same thing. Other side.